On the far edge of the galaxy, in a forgotten place called the Kepler Verge, there was an old junkyard. It was a graveyard for machines. Broken starships, lost tech, and pieces of ancient empires were left there to rust under the light of two moons. In the middle of this junkyard stood a small workshop made of scrap metal. Inside, it worked a man named Jin-woo. He was not famous or rich. He was a simple mechanic. His clothes were always dirty with oil. His hands were rough from years of fixing engines and circuits. Jin-woo lived alone. His only company was the quiet hum of old machines and the wind blowing through piles of metal. He did not care where the broken ships came from or how old the parts were. He only cared about fixing them. It was what he did best. One cold night, Jin-woo was deep inside the engine of an old cargo ship. Sparks flew around him as he tried to fix a stubborn valve. He wiped sweat from his face. Outside, a dust storm was blowing across the yard. Suddenly, the air changed. It felt heavy. Jin-woo froze. The workshop became silent, like the whole galaxy was holding its breath. He looked toward the large doors of his shop. There, standing in the storm, was something Jin-woo had only heard of in old stories. A dragon. But not like the ones in fairy tales. This dragon was an alien. Its scales shimmered like stars, glowing violet and silver. Its wings were large but folded, protecting something close to its chest. The dragoness looked weak. Her body was bleeding from many wounds. Slowly, with great effort, she stepped forward. Her claws clicked on the stone floor. With trembling legs, she gently placed a small bundle in front of Jin-woo. It was her child. The young dragon looked even weaker. Its small chest moved up and down very slowly. Its bright scales were cracked and dim. Wires and strange lights showed. From under its skin, the creature was part living, part machine, but the machine part was dying. Jin-woo's heart pounded. He had fixed many strange things, but never anything like this. He knelt beside the young dragon. Mother's voice entered his mind. Please, ... Save him. Jin-woo looked up at her. I'm just a mechanic, he said, his voice shaking. I fix ships ... not living beings. The dragoness lowered her head. Her voice came again. You are more than that. Jin-woo thought of all the broken ships. He had repaired things that should not have worked again. Maybe ... this was no different. Maybe he could try. He pulled over his workbench. His hands began to move on their own, gathering tools, clearing space. He examined the young dragon's core. It was cracked and leaking strange liquid. Tiny lights flickered weakly. I'll try. Jin-woo whispered. Hours passed. Carefully, he worked with tiny tools. He bridged broken wires. He sealed cracks with patch kits, meant for ship engines. It was not perfect, but it was all he had. Finally, he made the last connection. Happened. Then, the young dragon took a deep, shuddering breath. Its core glowed a little brighter. Its small claws twitched. Jin-woo let out a breath he didn't know he was holding behind him. The mother dragon knelt low, bowing her head to the ground. Her voice echoed in the workshop. You have touched the heart of the stars. And high above, in the cold sky, something ancient stirred. The mechanic from the junkyard had done the impossible, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same again. When a simple mechanic saved the life of a dying dragon, the stars seemed to notice. What began as a quiet night in the junkyard was now the beginning of something far greater. Jin-woo sat by the small dragonling, Kale, who now breathed steadily under a warm blanket of cloth and spare wires. The young one's chest glowed softly. The weak, flickering light had grown stronger. Jin-woo could not sleep. He stared at his hands. They were stained with grease, trembling slightly. I'm no healer, he thought. I just fix broken things. But deep inside, something had changed. He had done something no one thought possible. As the twin moons sank low, Kale stirred. His silver eyes blinked open. He looked at Jin-woo. There was no fear in those young eyes, only curiosity, something more. You fixed me, Kale whispered. His voice was soft, weak, but full of wonder. Jin-woo rubbed the back of his neck. "I just patched you up, little one," he said. "You were the one strong enough to hold on." The mother dragon, Arya, stepped closer, though her body still bled faint light. Her eyes were bright. She bowed her head to Jin-woo. Her voice filled the room like music. "You are more than you know, human. What you repaired was thought impossible." Before Jin-woo could reply, the ground began to tremble. The tools on his workbench rattled. The air grew thick and heavy, humming with unseen energy. "What ... is that?" Jin-woo asked, looking toward the open doors of the workshop. Arya's voice was calm but solemn. "Others have heard the call. They are coming." Through the dark sky, shadows moved. Shapes large and small. Dragons, dozens of them. Their wings spread wide, glowing with ancient light. Some were massive, their wings as long as ships. Others were smaller, quick, and bright, like stars. They circled above the junkyard. Then, one by one, they landed among the broken metal and old ships. The ground shook under their weight. An old dragon, deep blue with cracked scales, stepped forward. Her eyes gleamed with wisdom. She spoke in a voice like thunder and wind. "Human, show us the one you healed." Jin-woo's heart pounded. He swallowed and stepped aside, revealing Kale, now sitting upright. The little dragon blinked at the crowd of great beings. A soft murmur moved through the dragons. No anger, no threat, lonely wonder. Another young dragon was brought forward. Its body was weak, its core barely glowing. The dragons looked at Jin-woo. "With hope? If you could heal one," Arya said softly, "perhaps you can heal more." Jin-woo looked at the crowd. He had never felt so small. He wasn't a hero. He wasn't a doctor. He was just a mechanic in a lonely junkyard. "I don't know if I can," he said honestly, "but I'll try." The dragons bowed their great heads in silence. No words were needed. Jin-woo rolled up his sleeves. His heart was steady now. He picked up his tools and approached the wounded young dragon. Above them, the stars seemed to watch, shining brighter than ever. In that moment, Jin-woo understood. Sometimes even the smallest light can guide the lost. And somewhere far across the galaxy, new stories began to stir. Stories of a human who dared to heal the forgotten guardians of the stars.